So we have a piece of new playground equipment for the kids.
Would you like me to put out a one call?
Sure.
Asking for people to come and help at what time, beginning at 8 o'clock, you said?
No, 9, 10 o'clock.
Okay, okay, I can add that.
So there's a new piece of playground equipment that was donated. It's a brand new play set.
It's laying out there, and you've seen the pictures of it.
Yeah.
It's laying out there in 4 boxes. It's out there. And so, all I know is if anybody knows how to
Put stuff together.
screws together,
Yeah.
that's what it's probably going to take, because there's a lot.
Okay. So the play set, they need help putting the play set together. Some of the same pieces that were in that playground.
I'm sorry.
Oh, what? I'm sorry. Oh.
So, anyhow.
Yeah. There's some pieces that were out there that we are still saving and we'll put back on the playground. So,
Yeah, we're still debating about the old one. It seems to be pretty sturdy, really. It just needs to be critiqued a little bit tougher.
yeah, so we want to update those spaces and places so that it looks like there's a place for kids here. And we really should and do need to do that. So we are working on it, and there's forward momentum now. I feel really good about that. I don't know about you all, but I do. And then in keeping with the whole idea of planting seeds and watering them, I'm hoping that once we get the kids' rooms like painted, we can get some sort of not a decal, but you know those press-on things, like you can get your signage and print it and you can put it on the wall. So we came up with Crossroads seedlings in the idea of the planting theme, ages 0 to 2. And so you'll see these signs go up, Crossroads sprouts and shoots. And that is for ages 3 through 12. And then, of course, Eddie renamed the youth group to Rooted Youth. And so he'll use this over at the office. So you'll see those starting to go up just to make it all be sort of seamless, planting, cultivating, tending. And we'll be working on curriculum for the kids. So any questions about any of that? What?
I just wanted to say that playground is something that's really important. I don't know if some of you come by during the week, but we usually have families that come out to use that playground. So I know that a lot of the families that probably use that playground are probably missing it. So I think it'll be a good thing to be able to get us back into having young families come and use that area. So I think it's really important. So there's a lot of work to be done out there. We know. So the big thing is that we want to try to be able to do it right. So hopefully we don't get a whole lot of weeds and stuff growing in that area, and that's what we've had trouble with in the past. So I know that the pea gravel they've got pulled back, but we've got some really heavy-duty plastic to be able to put down to be able to go ahead and do some treating and stuff so that hopefully we don't get the weeds growing there.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. I was going to say something, but I've lost it now.
On getting the kids' rooms, organizing, have you guys reached out to like Tri Kappa and Anderson?
Mm-mm.
They do a lot with the women's like philanthropy sorority in Anderson. I'm in the Pendleton chapter, and we do a lot of work with education and youth and with many Christian organizations. They might be somebody who would be interested in like sponsoring something you guys did that.
Awesome. Tri Kappa. What did I just do then?
I'm not sure who the chapter leader is in Anderson, but I know that we have an Anderson chapter.
My sister was involved with that, so I might ask her. She's not anymore, but she might know who to talk to. That's a good idea. Thank you so much, Chloe. Speaking of which, Chloe, we're still waiting for Pastor Parrish to meet, but Chloe has agreed to help us out in the sound booth. So she is Anita's granddaughter. So make sure you make her feel welcome. So happy that she's stepped in to help us out. I've lost whatever it is I was going to say. So any other questions or concerns? Yeah.
Some of the benches are split, maybe some wood glue and longer screws, and then lightly, take a sander and just buff up the rough edges and get some new, stain down on them or whatever. And that can be done in the meantime while we're waiting to get the other
Do
parts
you
in.
want that added to the one cost?
Sure. It's gotta be done.
Okay.
And it probably won't be done before next weekend, so bring your blankets. If you want to sit on the benches, bring your blankets in case. Yeah, good idea. I know what I was going to say. I talked to a young couple from our church this past week, and I know that one of the things that concerned them was the lack of consistent help in the nursery. And other churches around, because they have a larger children's population, have like the check-in apparatus for their kids so that they know their kids will get checked in and they're not just going to be checked out to some random person. And so I'm like, we're not at that point. We don't have the kids to check in, but
Yeah, when Katie was here, she had a sign-in sheet.
yeah.
Supposed to sign them in and sign them out.
Yeah, so we'll do like our own sort of a thing until, if or when we get enough children to have an official. Those systems are not cheap, so until we're at that point, we can't really do that, nor can we afford to do that. But everyone that works with the kids has to be background checked, so that will be something that will continue to happen through Ministry Safe. Regarding, next slide, the youth, you should have this on your sheet. Eddie, I have been intentionally, confession, I was a marching band kid, and my kids were marching band kids, and I was a marching band mom and a uniform mom for 8 years straight. And so I just happen to love big band and marching band and that sort of music in general. So I have been trying to intentionally cultivate a deeper relationship with the high school band kids. So you don't know this, but we took from the youth budget a couple weeks ago. I took them out Gatorades and cookies and stuff for their like band camp, and they were super appreciative of that. But we want to continue to be involved with these kids in the band in hopes that they will begin to show up here in greater number. I would love to see our church support them. Like I said this morning at the competitions, I know they may not know that you're there, but it's just a way of cultivating those relationships at a deeper level. Trying to build personal relationship with them. Gary George's dad, I know, goes to the high school during lunches, so I am going to try to get involved with that this fall, as is Eddie. And then when I met with the kids in band, I did offer them, because we have a lot of you here in this church who are retired and seniors. Some of these kids might not have parents, and they might not have grandparents who are in their lives or around, but if we could do cross-generational ministry here, where we maybe hook them up with one of you to build a relationship or go out and have McDonald's once in a while or whatever, just to form a grandparent-like relationship with kids who might want it or need it. We have offered that to them already. We haven't had anybody take us up yet, but there's still time. And then we want to continue to connect with the kids that serve in our worship team and see if we can. I know that Eddie's been working with a couple of them, and one of them's not even a believer, the other one's sort of agnostic, so we just want to continue to cultivate those relationships. So that's what we're working on with the youth, as well as the Albee kids are already here. Eddie's got kids that age, so we're just trying to not only retain, but build more relationships. Questions or ideas? Crickets.
Anderson High School have like the jazz band?
Yeah.
Different, and the symphonics and all that?
Mm-hmm.
What about having them come out, like, to a picnic? I know it's kind of getting late in the year for that, but like having them come out to a picnic and, you know, just to provide music and entertainment for the congregation to gather and for the students to come out and kind of meet the actual congregation that can
Yeah. Well, I actually thought about that for the marching band because I know most of you haven't seen their show this year, but it's like a spin-off of like a carnival or a circus. So it's like a Cirque du Soleil sort of music. They have Beautiful Dreamer is one of the songs in their show this year, and it's very carnival-esque. And it would have been so cool if they could have come to our back to school event because it's the same theme, but they have a contest that day. S- Yeah. Yeah, so they're already committed, but that's a great idea to have the jazz band come maybe. That would be a fall thing because this time of year for them super busy. Huh? Ooh, that might not be a bad idea. Good. Any other ideas or questions? Okay, young adults. I was privileged to go to a pastor's breakfast a month ago or so, and I was I sat at a table with the president of Anderson University and his wife. His name escapes me at the moment. But anyways, we were the only ones at the table, and so they told me about an event, which I think actually Troy sent me the email about, because the piece of paper with this info on it is at home. But anyways, Troy sent me the info. They have something every fall that's called the 3 C's, community, churches, and forget what the third C was, where when the kids first come to campus, all the churches or whatever organizations come and can meet the kids. I say kids, college kids. And so we're going to participate in that. We are already signed up for that. I would like very much when we start small groups this fall to see if I can start a small group on the campus at Anderson University to try and connect with college kids. And then we can attend their weekly chapel events. So that's another way that I personally am going to try to build some relationships there. And there's been mention of the connection between college students and disc golf. Somebody suggested that we host a tournament. I know Troy said that there's some work to be done. Can you remind me of what work was to be done, Troy? They need replaced or fixed? I'm sorry? Okay. Okay. Remind me to get with you on that because that would be easy to do. We already have stickers with our logo. We can maybe just make them bigger or something to work on that. And then we have lights on them? Okay. Okay. So those are some ways that we can connect at Anderson University that we hope to work on this fall. I hope to work on that. I'm not putting that on Eddie's plate because he's got enough. So you'll see me maybe ramping that up, and since I'll be closer, it should be easier. Any questions or comments about that? If you have people that you connect with there that I can connect with, please let me know. And then adults. I've said this fall that we want to start life groups in the various regions of Anderson. There are about 3 of us signed up on the sheet out there. If you are interested in hosting a small group, please sign up out there. We will have training. We will provide the discs for you to play. It's called Alpha, and it is a seeker-sensitive small group study, as in you invite your friends or your neighbors or even people that are friends and don't know Jesus. They're welcome to come without judgment. You can come and ask any and all questions that you want without judgment. Nobody here is going to judge you. And the whole point is that it is seeker sensitive. In other words, you don't believe in Jesus, that's okay. Come share a meal with us. We're going to watch this video and we'll have a discussion. It's about building community. And for us personally, we started a life group initiative with a church that we were a part of years and years ago. And we were in part of the same life group for 10 years. So it builds relationships outside the four walls of this church. It provides community to people in those small groups, even if they never step foot in here, which is important because that's one of the ways that you grow a church. It's just common sense this day, and we don't have life groups outside the walls of this church. And then I hope to this fall, I know there's already a pastor's group in Anderson, and there's already some sort of a prayer initiative here, but I hope to, in earnest, join with other pastors in the local area in specific prayer for our community. And I hope to invite them here and host them here. So I'll be working on that this fall. And then we just want to put things in your hands that you can take and invite people to come to church. I think I did that right after I first came, but I want to do more of that. And you just take them with you and hand them to people or leave them on your table at lunch or what have you, whomever you feel led to give them to. We're having a fall preaching series. It'll be called First and Best, and it's about giving your first and best to God in all the ways. So we'll talk about using our spiritual gifts. We'll explore our spiritual gifts. And in line with that, I'm working on a discipleship curriculum for Sunday school. That'll be a bit. I'm working on it. We have already started. I've never been part of a church where we didn't pray right before service every Sunday. And so we are doing that now at 8:45. If you want to come and pray over our church and our services, come to the choir room at 8:45. We are praying before Sunday school every week, and everybody's invited. I hope we would pack the room out, and it's pretty small right now. Social media and our website. Chloe has gifts and talents outside of me, and she knows things I don't know. I know enough to be dangerous. And so Chloe has specific gifts, and so we're going to be putting our heads together about how to deploy better options on our website. There are things I don't know how to hook up right. Like, you should be able to get on your app and see all of our groups, but you can't. It just takes you to our life group webpage. I don't know how to fix that, but Chloe, I think, would. And so there's things that Chloe knows that I don't know, and so we hope to collaborate to fix those things and make it more user-friendly. And then we hope to finish the Sunday school room so that we can actually use that. If you've sat in Sunday school or B12 in the fellowship hall, you know you can hardly hear sometimes right now. And so that room is for Sunday school and classroom use. And so we want to be able to use it that way so that you're not competing with a freezer and all of the noise. And then there's supposed to be work on a closet for fellowship hall. Hopefully we can get to that sometime this year for pantry storage so that we don't have to use that room and lots of other rooms and lots of other cabinets for pantry stuff. We will just have like a dedicated closet that would maybe hold most of our stuff. That's it. That's all I have. There are hopes for the future on a lot of our parts, but we just want to get the ball rolling. I feel like we already are. The playground, the kids' room, we're starting those things now, and I'm excited, even with the pantry, to get the new freezers and fridges, and that's so helpful, and it's just like taking a step forward for our church. So we just want to keep that snowball rolling. So now's your chance to ask any questions and have input. One thing I received from Melanie Johnson, most of you know Melanie, right? So she's like shut in, and she mentioned that our shut-ins need more support. And so she talked about maybe starting some sort of casserole ministry or some way to help with pastoral care so that people like her feel more supported. by the church since she cannot attend. So that's one idea that's already been brought up by her. Now's your chance. What are your ideas about helping our church grow and be a community? Here you go.
There was comment about the playgrounds for the children, that a lot of families use that don't go to this church.
Yes.
What about some kind of signage or something saying, "Welcome to Crossroads"? We would like for you to attend our services. And
Out
try
there?
us out, yeah,
Okay.
and try us out or something, you know.
I've just mentioned that we would put on the sign or anything out there that is related to our church organization, so that they can find someone to contact if they want to get involved.
So better signage?
I think over the past year, we've had 3 or 4 things that we did do that we're not doing because people kind of lost interest in it. They had the Joy Club met on Mondays. Some people are missing it. Maybe it was the wrong day of the week. We're not going to do movies this fall because there was no interest in it. We did have a lot of people come, and then all at once people weren't coming. So this fall, we're not going to do movies any, Larry. You've got every Wednesday night. I'm on. So, and the ladies, B&B, it's trying to get the women to come out and join in things. Maybe it's at the wrong time of day, I don't know. But if we can get things where people can get together. We used to have supper for 6, where for 3 months you would meet with certain couples in their homes, and then you would change. But I think we just need things where we can all get together again. I think COVID did us in and let us think we can all stay home.
I think that's in some respects, there are things that maybe you did in the past that you can't do anymore because nobody comes, but also because either they can't come or they're working. Working people can't come to B&B. That's just not possible. So the whole point of I was told that when Rick was here, you all tried small groups and it didn't work. But I'm asking you to make an investment. I'm asking you to try hard to build a small group and see if it happens. I'm not saying everybody has to host one, but I'm saying maybe consider it for a few months and see how it goes. If it doesn't work, then you can go to somebody else's small group. But when I asked y'all, I put it in the newsletter, how many of you had mentorships or had people that you were spiritually accountable to, and almost nobody raised their hand. That's where a small group comes in. You should have a small group to where you can go, hey, I'm struggling with this.
When we were out at South, each adult had a child, a youth or a child, that was their prayer partner. One of my grandsons, who is 30, the person still considers herself his prayer parent.
Nice. So I think that's the whole point. You may not be able to do things the way that you used to do them because our culture has changed. And so you have to think of new ways to do them. You can't be the same people you were because life is not the same, especially post-COVID. But again, you can form these bonds. I think that whatever that 6 thing was, that's a neat idea, but it's kind of a life group model already. So you could make that a life group model.
Right.
I know at our house, we'll probably invite neighbors, we'll see what happens, but it doesn't mean that every person in this church has to start a life group. Maybe you don't want to start one, but maybe you want to come to ours. Fine, come. You know what I mean? That's fine. And then maybe word will begin to spread.
And I don't know if you've noticed in the newsletter, if you've even read it yet, Anita is not going to do craft any longer. But if somebody would like to start something like that, maybe a different day, a different time,
What about you? What we've talked about? Yeah.
Yeah, I've wanted to try to restart a men's ministry here, and not just here, but just for the entire town of Anderson. There's so many things that are going on in our city and in our community that men aren't part of, whether that's because they don't want to step up, or whether that's because they've been forced out, or it's just the fact is that there's a lot of them that need guidance. And, you know, we need to, as a church, we need to step up and go to these places and assist our young men to become men. And, you know, it starts in our hearts before we can do anything. We have to make sure our hearts are right and ready for this kind of a thing. Because once we start it, it can't be like everything else that happens around here. We start it for a while, and then it stops. We start it for a while, and then it stops. We can't do that. If we're going to be doing stuff, we've got to make sure that our hearts are in the right spot. This isn't about time or effort. It's about your heart. If your hearts are going to be into it, and you're called truly by God and what Christ wants us to do, things are going to get done. But I've sat here and I've listened to a lot of things about what we did in the past, what we've done here, what we did there. And that's all well and good, but why did we stop? We stopped because of COVID, right? That's what a lot of us comes down to. We stopped because of COVID. We're out of COVID almost 5 years now. So what's stopping us now?
There are a lot of, I hear a lot in the world today about young men not being men anymore. We need mentors for young men. How do we come up with those people who need that? How do we search them out? I don't know. That's something that you'll have to determine. But he's talking about starting a men's group, not here at the church, in the community in general, just to be mentoring of young men. And I think that's a fantastic idea because we need men to be men. This is the world where relativity has happened. And as such, young men are suffering, not realizing that they are designed by God for that reason. And so that's a fantastic idea.
Well, and just to add one thing, and I'll pass it back to you. There was a situation that happened down by the old milk barn there at Nickel and Madison Avenue, okay? And there was a church that was down there trying to clean the area up. Either the owners of that property across the way from the milk barn or somebody in that community or the community in general called the police and had them stop it. Now, we can't stop. As we heard today in Pastor Shannon's message, Paul did all this stuff and was still thrashed and put in prison and everything else because of his conviction to get the word out and to be more like Christ. If we're going to do anything, and I'm not just talking about the ministry that I want to start, I'm talking about any kind of ministry here or any kind of community development or anything else like that. We've got to be willing to take that step. We've got to be willing to take the punches that are going to come at us. And I'm sorry, but until your dying breath, God has a purpose for you, whether that's to pray for this ministry to take place, whether that's to get out into the community and not be scared of these people. That is what it boils down to. If you are scared to take a step out, are you scared to admit that you're a Christian? are you scared to commit and say that you are, that talk about Christ? Because if you deny him in front of man, he's going to deny you in front of his Father. And we can't be like that if we're going to be called Christians. We have to be willing to step up and do what's right and do what's needed. That's the one, yeah. Yep.
And then there was a group that asked for people to show up the next week. I never heard how many showed up, how many came
50. 50 showed up.
Really?
50 showed up and they were told to disperse. 50 showed up the following week and they were told to disperse.
Oh, really?
Yep. The police. Where was this? This was down at the corner of Nickel and Madison Avenue. Nickel and Madison Avenue.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about.
So, but that's what this boils down to. I mean, we're coming into the time and the era to where men have to be men, women have to be women, and we have to step up and we have to be Christians. And I'm not saying this out of trying to blow smoke out of anybody's butt or puff myself up, but I'm just being honest. It's going to take an entire church, and when I mean a church, I don't mean just us. I mean all the Christian churches that are around here. We all know people that go to different churches. We all have to step up and go to those people and say, hey, we're trying to start something. Can you talk to your pastor and have him get a hold of Pastor Shannon? Can they talk to me? We want to do something that is going to revive this community. But it takes us to step up.
I don't know how many people know, there is that community, what is it called? That they have every year over at Jackson Park.
Yeah, and they're getting ready to have that again.
They're getting ready to have it again. They called and asked if we had a praise team that could come. Well, we don't. But, it's open to all churches. They're asking everybody to come, and it is.
It's a unity
It is
picnic.
put on by the pastors group here in town. And we went one year, and it really is a nice time. It's free food. There's people singing all the time. They have games, and I think they have people selling things. But it is, and it's to a community unification. And as a group, we should go as the church.
And that's the thing, it's on the west side of town. And I don't know how many people like going on the west side of town.
I live there. I live 2 blocks from it, been there for 50 years, and it's no different than being over on any other side of town, because I can remember when my kids were in high school, there was a murder in Edgewood by a high school student. It doesn't matter where you live, things happen everywhere. And why a certain place gets labeled as bad, I don't know.
Yeah. That's the breakfast I went to about a month ago. It had to do with that unity group or whatever. Sorry, my asthma is bad.
Because the property owner, it's either a property owner or a community member or somebody of that ilk
Complained.
said they were calling,
Trespassing.
it was the property owner, said that they were causing problems, they didn't want them to be on that property. And so they came and they asked them to leave. And being good Christians,
And they were just trying to clean up? Is
But-
that what it was? Okay.
clean up, have praise music, you know, do the things that you would do if you're trying to clean up the community.
Well, and they've been asking men to mentor, volunteer to teach young men different things and to mentor.
Yep. You know, but when you don't have people that want to go out, that's the entire thing. Yes.
The city of Anderson and the police department put in block parties.
Mm-hmm.
You may talk to like the police department about maybe trying to
Well, and that would be great, but we've got to realize something too. This day and age, and I'm just speaking from my own knowledge.
It is the church historically who has been the providers for those in need. And somewhere along our history, we have allowed the state to take that over. And it has historically always been the church. So, which is why we have a food pantry, right? I mean, we want to provide, and that's one of the main things that we do here. But as far as serving as a spiritual rudder in our community, for some reason, that's just hands off because separation of church and state. I think that's what Steve is trying to say. So, Eric?
God had to teach me. I try to invite all my neighbors to church, but everybody is busy. And you can't do anything about that. And I'm losing heart, and God says, you're just going to have to watch the way you live in front of your family and others. Don't give up. It's easy to give up when you got to deal with health issues and you're stuck at home dealing with dialysis treatments. That doesn't make it easy. And you can't work. You just got to keep your chin up. And with God's help, you'll keep your chin up. Just go to the grocery store and give that cashier a smile when she waits on you. Just little things. The gas station tenant, think positive. Everybody is so busy nowadays. People just don't want to, everything's so high, everybody's wanting to work. They don't care about anything else but paying bills. It's getting worse. It's not getting better. And it's affecting our church big time because we all got to deal with health issues. And God has got to raise us up. We got to keep praying about everything and not give up.
Amen.
That's all we can do.
One of the things that Steve is talking about, this men's ministry, we may also find that we can't do Saturday morning at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. because do you know why a lot of the world doesn't come to church? It's the only day that they get to sleep in. Maybe we even need to consider doing a Sunday afternoon something or a Sunday evening service for like college kids or those people who like, it's their only day to sleep in. The world has changed, and like Eric said, people are working sometimes 2 and 3 jobs to make ends meet, or, you know, the only day they have. Listen, I take a nap on Sunday afternoons. Where am I right now? You know, it's because I'm exhausted after Sunday morning, right? That's just what I do. There's a lot of people who work 6, sometimes 7 days a week. We don't want to do something at 8 a.m. on a Saturday or a Sunday morning because they're just tired. How do we feed them? So that's something that we should consider in the future. I've heard lots of people kind of mention that here and there. If you have specific, listen, I'm just a normal person. I pull my pants on the same way you do. I don't bite when you come talk to me. It takes a lot to make me angry. Come see me or call me and say, can we go have coffee or lunch one day? I like to go to lunch with people. That's one of my favorite things to do. I think sharing a meal with someone is a good way to get to know them. So I don't bite. My door is always open. I hear a lot of people saying, well, I don't feel like my voice is heard. Come, let's talk. The door is always open. Yeah, we're recording it though.
I just want to let everyone know the meals will start again in August, but they're not going to start on the first Wednesday. That is Ice Cream Social at Anderson. No, it will be at Highland, and you can go see the band's show for free.
Did you find out that that's the date for sure? Is that the date for
sure?
sure?
They looked it up. Do you know the time? But it is on their
We'll figure it out.
website, and it is the first Wednesday in
Of
August.
August.
So we won't be here. Go support the band. Next Wednesday we
Amen.
will be here.
I'm
weekly.
telling you, their show is amazing. We got there an hour and a half early last night. I don't know how many bands we saw in total before them, maybe 6 or 7. Nobody held a candle to them. I mean, so proud of Richard and the kids. They're just doing a phenomenal job. So Any other comments or questions, or don't be shy?
Well, I'm going to apologize at first because I'm probably going to cry. I wonder if, we need help at our house. And we just paid $1,700 for somebody to come out and pull a few weeds. And I can't ask my friends here to do that, but I'm wondering if there's not some way that you guys who are able to do stuff can do stuff for us older people. Jim isn't able to do a lot of stuff, and I can't do hardly anything. So I wonder if there's not some way that we could, I don't mind paying somebody, but $1,700 was a lot of money for us. And I have a front door I want to put in. The door cost me $200. It cost me $900 to have it put in. And things like that, some of the guys who, they say, if you need something, call me. But it's kind of like walking by somebody and they say, how's your day going? It's okay. And it may not be okay. And I hate to call friends or call guys to do things for me if there's not some way that we could get some college students, because I'm sure that they need a lot of money. Is there not some way that we can connect with college students to pay them to do some of the things that we need to have done? So I don't know if that's part of what we're talking about here, but
Like we could have a work crew, a volunteer work crew somehow, or maybe you could even combine that with a men's ministry.
yeah.
That'd be something great for the men's ministry. The youth, as a youth, I guess, young adult, youth are looking for things to do. We are bored. We just scroll on our phones, and that's become life for a lot of them. But when they find groups that they can connect with and relate to, they will come to it. I work with an event for South Massachusetts Community Foundation called Open Hearts, Open Purses. It's a women's philanthropy group. They pick a volunteer organization in Madison County, and they give them $10,000 every year. And the winner a few years ago was a group called Soul Sisters, and literally all the group was the teachers at Pendleton Heights. They had students who were bored after school, who are probably the generation behind me at this point, but they decided they were going to just get girls together and have a run. And they come after school and they run together, and that's turned into a whole fellowship for them.
Personal. So Chloe's going to host a small group this fall. That's what she's saying. Chloe's going to host a life group.
When you were also talking about offering like things in the afternoons and stuff, that would be fantastic. I'm a college student. I was doing my master's and my bachelor's at the same time last year, and Sunday was literally the only day where I did not have to be somewhere and have to do something. And that does, and I'm ashamed of it, but that does keep me from getting up and going to services, because that's like the only day I'm not going for 12 plus hours a day. But I 100% would come to something, or at least at that point when I was doing that, I'd come to something in the afternoon. That would be much better than have to wake up early in the morning. It's like I get up early for class every day, and it's
I forgot to mention too, a hope and a dream for the future is a bus ministry here at the church, so.
A couple of weeks ago, I talked with Alice. She said when she was 90 years old, she asked the Lord what she could do. Now, all of you know Alice, and I got a hug from her this morning, and she said, I can hug. And so I believe on Monday night, she comes to the AA meeting and hugs guys. And I heard that one fellow said, I haven't been hugged in 6 years. And she's giving hugs. That's her ministry. For Wednesday night, it occurs to me to share with you the life of Joseph. He had 2 dreams that came true. It took 15 or 20 years for them to come true, but the dreams came true. I don't have 20 years, but I still have a dream. And I would like to share with those of you who come on Wednesday night, having the Lord give you a dream for if it is the last chapter, which this is my last chapter of life, I have a dream. I would like to help you discover, like Alice, the dream that the Lord has for you, who you are, and where you are. Amen.
What are we doing in all of this? I didn't share with you the last page because it would have freaked you out about the dreams for the future. And I heard people when we met who said, oh, we had that dream many years ago and we drew up the plans and it never came to fruition. Well, this isn't then. This is now. I didn't share it with you, so I couldn't freak you out. But we did talk about it as a group. We talked about the future of this church and the hopes and the dreams that we have to see this church grow and reach a community. But just like anything, it takes faith and it takes effort. And in this country, Jeff and I say, I'm going to work till I die. I mean, I think that's pretty much how it is with our generation and the younger folks. They're going to work till they die. But the American dream has always been, I work till I'm 65 and then I'm done. But that has infiltrated the church. It ain't over till the fat lady sings. If you're still here, your heart's still beating, and you still have breath in your lungs, God still has a plan for you. Yes. Does that mean you have to work like I work, or even like my kids work, or do you have to work till the bone, and when you're tired and you really need to sit down and take a break? No. It means you do what the Lord has called you to do as much as you can, as often as you can. God still has a plan for you as long as your heart is beating and your lungs are breathing. It ain't over. And so this is one of those churches where the very small amount of people do the most of the work. It's very hard. Those people get wore out. They need help. We all need help. Anita says they need help. I don't know, Anita, maybe we can create a work group on our app or on our website where we can list people who need things done, and somebody can meet that need. So we'll have to talk about how we can do that in the future. It's a really important point.
Just to tie it out a little bit, former church I was at, our men's group, we had breakfast every Saturday morning. But one of the gentlemen that was sort of the leader of the men's group would have maybe a list. One of the shut-in ladies, he called him and said, look, my gutter tore down. Can you come fix it for me? And so 2 or 3 of us guys would get together and meet. So I think a men's group here at the church that meets regularly can maybe be a partial solution to helping folks like Anita. But you know, I came from a church very similar to this. It was a United Methodist Church down in Greenville that disaffiliated, and those that stayed decided to become an independent, non-denominational church. And it wasn't the same. Nancy and I went to church there for a while, and we wanted to get back to our roots because she was Methodist as well. But the church suffers the same thing. It's improved a little bit that we do here. And that is when you look around this room, except for Chloe sitting up there, there's a bunch of us old farts sitting in here.
Larry calls you Q-tips,
Yeah.
just so you know.
You know, and there are days, I'm 70, almost 73, and there are days when I get around really good and I can get things done. But there are days when it's tough. My bones ache. You know, you got to oil them a little bit and get going. So we have that problem here at this church. So how do we motivate our middle age, that 45 to 55 to 60, that group of people to help us keep things moving along? It's a problem that a lot of churches face, is that the older population is who still comes to church. The younger population in the summertime, they want to go skiing. They want to take their boats and go somewhere. They want to play golf. They've got other things they want to do. But we have to show them that Sunday morning you need to be at church. And then that helps them learn and mature, grow in their faith, and give up some of those self-centered things to become more God-centered. And it's just, how do we fix it? How do we fix? Because just like Larry said, I don't know if I'm in my last chapter or not. My mom's 94, and she still goes to church, but somebody has to take her, you know. So we have to come up with a solution. And a lot of the ideas that Pastor has mentioned today about things going forward, they're going to be effective as long as we take them to heart, as Steve said, and make them happen. A former church in Indianapolis, their biggest moneymaker in the year was the fish fry. And the last time I worked it, they grossed $30,000 on a fish fry. It went from Thursday night to Saturday at lunch. And you can make it happen. You can make it happen, but it takes people to sign the schedule and help. So we need to come up with the plan. And then this church say amen that we're going to get her done.
The missions group here, when I joined this church 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, had a group of men, 2 or 3, and we went out and built ramps for the people that couldn't get up and down the steps. Well, those people, all but me, have died or not able to. There's only 24 hours in a day, and Dave's working me about 30 each day. But that was through the mission group, and we worked on various people in the church. Now, there was a couple of times that we got directed to go away from the members of the church and do a couple of projects, but mostly it was for the people in the church. But those people, Dick and Cecil and 2 or 3 others, maybe Jerry, I don't know, but they're all not able to do that. Cecil, you don't want a skill saw in his hand because he's liable to cut off your shoulder just to spite your finger because he shakes so bad. So, I mean, we had it, but it's all basically by age and death went away.
Well, and here's the problem. I'm 55. Jeff's 59. How many other couples do we have in this church that are that age? You guys? Troy and Jesse. And I don't know how old you are, but I'm assuming you're close to our age. You have kids our age. The kids our age. And yeah, I know. And so it takes you inviting your kids to church then, or grandkids. And that's the problem, though. It's not just this church. It is the church. You might see the church I was pastoring at before this. There were a couple of younger couples. There was nobody our age, and everyone else was 60 or 70 plus. But listen, those people all brought their grandkids, and in a church of 50, guess how many kids we had for VBS? 25. A church of 50 brought 25 kids to VBS. So it is possible, but we have to do something about it. So I talked to my mentor in Canada, who's a Free Methodist pastor up there. Their church has the same issue. They might have a few younger, hardly anybody in their 40s and 50s, and everybody else is older. It is a church big C problem. It's not just this church. So just so that you know that.
Our children passed away, and so our grandchildren are not here either.
Are you going to say something? Okay, we have time for a couple more. Roger said something, and Jesse, and you.
Okay. I just wanted to say there's a lot of things that we used to do. Tom mentioned that. In fact, that ramp that's back here in the corner, that was something that Cecil and I built. So, I mean, we've got people that have the skills but don't have the ability anymore. And that's part of the problem that we've got. And when Pastor Rick was here, I had classes that I had once a month that we were teaching people how to be able to do simple plumbing, simple electrical stuff that, you know, hopefully they didn't get shocked too bad. We had a class on how to be able to use a cell phone. So we had classes where we had people attend to be able to go ahead and learn things. Yeah, we had people that were outside the church that would come and learn how to be able to do things. And I think that's, you know, unfortunately what happens when we got to the point where we didn't have people show up. And, I mean, we've got kids that don't know how to be able to change a tire on a car. And I mean, and it's a shame that, you know, us old folks, we need to start cross-training some of these kids so that they can do stuff on their own. And that's something that we probably need to get back into again.
We could do an oil change, tire change workshop.
Yeah, and I mean, it's stuff that kids need to learn how to be able to do stuff. And I hate to say it, half the time they're adults that they live with don't teach them how to be able to do things. They don't know how to cook. They don't know how to be able to wash their clothes, half of them. Mom and dad does all the stuff, and they live in the basement. So, I mean, I hate to say it, we need to be able to teach them to be able to do their own things so that they, one of these days, maybe they'll move out of the house and you can say, see you later, now you know how to wash your clothes. All right, I'll quit while I'm at behind.
Okay, 2 more comments, and then y'all need to go home, me too.
Well, speaking from this age group that's under 50 still for right now.
Are you?
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
Yes.
I didn't know.
We haven't talked a lot about the community market, so I want to put a plug in there for the community market, and I also want to make people realize that a lot of the people that are coming to these community markets are in our age group, and there's not a lot of people from the church communicating with the people in our age group at these markets. A lot of times they're coming to these markets because that's their second income. They go to these fairs because they need money to support their families. And what better way for us to support these people and help them support their families by showing up and just seeing what they have. And I feel like we're not talking about the markets enough. When we started doing this, it was a way to get people on our grounds and to spread love into the community. And now, when you look at the social media or the newspapers, they're happening everywhere. But the one thing that is different for us is that we don't charge. So I feel like we need to be promoting this more and supporting it more. And I will say briefly that when we started our darts program here, it was a little disheartening that we didn't have more people from the church coming and trying. I realize a lot of people don't like to drive at night, and that's a hindrance. but even just showing up and stepping outside your comfort zone is a big boost to other people to say, well, if he can try it, I'll try it. I mean, when Pat started playing, she couldn't hit the dartboard because she was so short, but by the time we stopped, she was so competitive that she wanted a new set of darts and she wanted to learn a different way to stand. And sometimes it just takes stepping outside your comfort zone. But as much as we talk about supporting the band, we need to support all of the events that are happening in the church, and specifically the ones that are being attended by the younger people in the church. So I just... We are going to move it to Sunday evenings at 7 starting in October, as long as nothing changes between now and then. We really were disheartened the last time we started, and we didn't have the support we needed. So I'm just letting you know that anybody can throw a dart. It's not that complicated. And even if you can't throw, just coming, and when we would have Wednesday service and people would walk out of the service and walk right through darts and not speak to anyone there, it was very disheartening. I mean, you can stop and introduce yourself and invite people to service the same way we are when we're playing darts. So it's disheartening to not have the same support for the age group that you're trying to recruit to the church. Good.
Well, I went off and forgot my hearing aids, so I didn't hear much of what people were saying. But I think it's well and good that we worry about the children, fix a nice area. But the people we really, really need is the people 30 to 60. We don't have any. They have grandkids. Some of them have grandkids. You know, some of them have kids. That's what we need, the people to come in, and then the kids will come, you know, their grandkids might come later if they come. We got to do something to motivate the middle-aged people. You know, we're all Steve and the people up there are only ones under 60 in here, pastor. And we just need to do with the kids, but we need to get a younger person to do the kids, like we had when the guy and his wife from Anderson University were here. They ended up getting married. The kids went and did stuff. We paid money for them to go to concerts and go to Florida and go to amusement parks and stuff like that. You're gonna have to be generous to come up with money, because a lot of these kids nowadays, their parents don't have any money. They're getting a free lunch and everything at school. They can't afford to pay for their kid to go to Kings Island or go to Florida for a week. We're going to have to dig deeper if we're going to try to have kids. And you might check with Anderson University. Surely there's someone in a youth ministry program that could come and be a youth person here. I mean, Eddie's, that's great, but he's not a young person. He's an older person. We need a young person that identifies with these kids, because they're it's a whole different world out there now than it was when we were growing up. Whole different world. And talking about going down the park and stuff out there. It's a whole different world. People don't like each other. You know what I mean? That can happen. And are you ready? Are you ready to be getting comfort? You know, have someone get up in your face and complain about you being there trying to do something? We just need to concentrate on the middle-aged people, and they'll bring the grandkids maybe, or get a younger youth leader so they can go and do stuff with it, because we're too old to go to the amusement park with them and run around all day. Bunch of kids, 10-year-olds, you know, what are we going to do? I can't hardly walk across the street, but, you know, we just need to we're going to have to get some money first. Money is root of all evil in this. You gotta have to have money to go and do stuff with the kids, or they're not gonna bother coming.
Well, let me just say this. Eddie is a lot younger than we are, and he has teenage kids, and I think he's the right choice for that role. Okay, last one here.
I came from a former Park Place pastor, and we always got our youth leaders from the college. But we had people in the church, most yearly it was a couple, and they were older as over the youth. But we had that, and you're right, we changed about every year just because of that. But it was great when it came to going to youth, going to camp, because he could keep up with us, you know, that type of thing, or he or she, you know, would keep up with us. But we always had a couple, or at least 2 or 3 in the church that were over the actual youth
Yeah.
group.
But we do not have that here.
No, we did. And it took us, at that time.
Go ahead.
At that time, Pastor, we were the only church.
No, you honor me, Dad. I just wanted to thank whoever put on the messages this morning. It was Mary and I's anniversary, so I didn't get in trouble. Appreciate the reminder.
Is yours this week? Oh, happy anniversary. Ours is Friday. I don't know why ours wasn't up there. So we celebrate the days that we're moving. We celebrate our 33rd anniversary, so.
I just have one thing, word of encouragement. I hope it's a word of encouragement. I probably don't need this, but, yeah. It's for all of us Q-tips, okay? If you're younger, don't listen. But Q-tips who have been coming, what I've noticed for the last couple weeks is that there's been nobody to volunteer, Q-tip, to volunteer to stand at that door and help our other Q-tips come in who have to come in on walkers. Okay, I'll say no more. But men or women, anyone who's able to do that, come a little early, and please, please do that. You don't have to study for it. You don't have to prepare. You don't have to take a class. All you have to do is come a little early and stand at that door and watch. I've been leaving Sunday school, come in at this door, because I just want to see you. Larry and I sit up here. We never get a chance to know who's behind us, you know, or anything. I'm seeing you more now than I do on Sunday. Now, that's my fault, because we sit up here. And I figured if I can greet you as you come in, I get a chance to see you face to face. And I want to. No other reason, but I just want to. And I want to ask the Lord's blessing on you. And I know you feel that way with each other. And I know you feel, what can I do? I feel the same way. Okay? I don't do now at 86 what I did at 50. But that's okay. What can I do? The Lord can increase in my heart a love for people. So I can pray for you. If you can do nothing as a Q-tip, okay? You can do that, and you need that. Because no matter what programs we come up with in the church, no matter what ideas, no matter how good they are, how godly they are, they need to be fortified with prayer and to be sure, yes, Lord, you are in this. So please pray about opening the door, being cautious about people who just need your help in opening the door. Thank you.
And we do need to be more organized about greeters, and so we'll work on that for sure. But I don't want to hold you all. I didn't want this to take much longer than an hour. It's a little over an hour and a quarter. My door's always open, and I care about you all, and I love you all, and I want you to know that. And I'm slowly trying to make all my rounds to visit people in their homes. Be patient with me. There's quite a few of you on the list. I'm working on it. If I see you on a regular basis and I meet with you or talk with you on a regular basis, you might be later on the list because I already know you well, but I'm trying to make my rounds. So be patient with me and hang in there. Thanks for showing up today. Can we pray to close out? And I'm going to let Larry pray.
Lord Jesus, we are so thankful for your sacrifice for us and for having changed our hearts, that you have forgiven us and restored us to relationship with you and with God the Father. And so we bind and bound ourselves together to have the kingdom come around our kitchen tables, to have the kingdom come in our living rooms, to have the kingdom come as we come together to worship and honor and glorify you. We see your wonders all around us in nature, and we see the small things that make us remember that you are a creator God, and that the awesome night sky and the sunrise, and Lord, some of us don't have too many sunrises left, and so we dedicate ourselves to you, to be committed to you and to touch other people's lives as long as we have breath. Amen.